Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new women's Nike Hypervenom Phantom 2 in the Hyper Turquoise, Voltage Green, Racer Blue, Chalk Blue, and Metallic Silver colorway. Now inside the box, they include a couple of extras. The first thing you get is this tag that essentially lets you know that the graphic printed on the sole plate and the studs will wear off over time. We'll talk about that more later in the video. They also include a string bag, as you'll get from all the top end models from Nike. The string bag is Hyper Turquoise in color with Racer Blue strings. You're gonna find a white Nike swoosh on the one side and white Nike football branding on the other. Other than that, all you're gonna find inside the box, as you guys can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly and we'll take a closer look at what is a very interesting colorway of the Nike Hypervenom Phantom 2 that also happens to be a women's colorway. So a lot of people will automatically assume that if you're a guy, you cannot wear these, but really all you have to do is a simple sizing conversion and you can wear these just like a regular pair of men's Hypervenom Phantom 2s because these are not women's fit. Keep that in mind. This is just a women's colorway that features different sizing. The actual shape and fit is not any different at all. So as long as you go through the proper sizing conversion from men's to women's, you can achieve the proper fit. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please stick around to the on-feet portion of the video where I explain all of that in detail. Also in this video, we're going to be taking a closer look at this very interesting colorway, talking about tech specs, general performance, as well as taking a look at the weight of the shoe. So if you're interested in learning more in general about this women's Nike Hypervenom Phantom 2, please stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $275 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's take a closer look at the colorway. Now, of the entire 2016 women's pack that Nike has just came out with, this one is definitely the most interesting. And I say that meaning that I'm personally not crazy about this particular colorway. It's a little bit too off the wall in my opinion, and it kind of looks like a Nike ID gone wrong, at least in my opinion. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think of this colorway down below in the comment section. Another thing to keep in mind that this is technically a women's colorway, and I will make the argument again that out of the entire pack, this one does look the most girly, but we've had full-on pink shoes released as men's colorways, and people wear those no problem. So if you are a guy and you want to wear these, I don't see why you couldn't get away with it. As far as the colorway breakdown is concerned, obviously the majority of the upper, including the Nike skin part, the laces, as well as the exposed Flyknit, it looks to be solid Hyper Turquoise in color, but the actual exposed Flyknit does have a mid layer of that chalk blue color when it stretches out, so right here on the ankle, as well as across the top of the foot, although it isn't super noticeable against the actual Hyper Turquoise kind of top layer. It's kind of just like a light kind of sky blue color, as you would expect kind of a blue chalk to look. It's pretty accurate in the name. As far as other colors you're going to find on the shoe, you have that Voltage lime green for the actual Nike swoosh with a silver outline on both the front and back of the shoe. You of course have that Hypervenom detailing in Racer Blue, which is a really bright royal blue color, accents really nicely against the Hyper Turquoise upper, which is kind of like a greenish teal color. And then you have the white kind of crackle pattern with the Hypervenom branding within that Racer Blue graphic, which I think looks really, really cool. And of course, those two colors continue on to the bottom of the shoe where you're going to find more of that Racer Blue color with the graphic itself being printed on in white. So this is the part where I showed you guys this particular tag. That white graphic that's printed on the bottom of the sole plate as well as on parts of the studs will wear off over time. It doesn't seem to wear off particularly quickly. I do have a video specifically on how the actual color wears off on my channel, so I'll leave an annotation on screen to that if you want to go ahead and check it out. And then of course the final touch are actually voltage green stud tips as well. So lots and lots of different colors happening on one single shoe here. Again, I'm personally not crazy about the combination that they've kind of come up with, but let me know your opinions on it down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? Would you wear them? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. As far as performance is concerned, the Hypervenom Phantom 2 is a very unique shoe to wear. Now, if you guys are interested, there is a playtest video already up on my channel. I'll leave an annotation on screen if you want to go ahead and check it out and haven't seen it already. But the one thing I want you guys to keep in mind for this video on the Phantom 2 in particular is that while this is a women's colorway, it's no different whatsoever from the regular version of the Hypervenom Phantom 2. The only difference is going to be the actual colorway and the way the sizing works. The shape, the fit, the general construction, the materials used, those are all identical to the men's version of the Phantom 2. So again, the only thing that's different between the men's and women's version is the colorway and the way the sizing works, which I'll explain a little bit later in the video. Now, with the Phantom 2, essentially what you're getting is a shoe that is based around being as responsive as possible. So the upper itself, it's called Nike Skin. It has a fairly thin kind of feel to it, as you guys can see by the thickness and the side profile. It has a Flyknit collar and mid area here where the tongue would normally be located, but that's all the Flyknit on the shoe. The actual upper itself is a textile base with a thin polyurethane Nike Skin layer on top that kind of fills in all the gaps and maintains the structure of the shoe. You have more layers in certain areas and less layers in others. Now, because the upper is quite thin, it actually doesn't have much softness to it. That's probably the one thing a lot of people complain about with this particular shoe, is that it feels quite firm against your foot. Is it uncomfortable? Not necessarily, but it definitely does take some getting used to, and if you prefer something with a softer upper, you're probably going to much better enjoy your experience with something like a Superfly 4 or Magista Obra that's going to have a lot more softness to the actual synthetic than what you'll find here with the Phantom 2. This is thin, it's firm, it's somewhat rigid, and some people like that sensation. So if that's you, you're really going to enjoy your experience with the Hypervenom Phantom 2. There's really no extra padding here. It's just a very, very firm touch and a very firm feel against your foot as well. Because of how firm the upper is, obviously it's very structured. Plus you have the added flywire cables that run through the lateral and medial side of the shoe, running from the base of the sole into the lacing system. So when you put these on your feet and tie the laces tight, everything is locked in place very, very nicely. And the shoe is just extremely responsive. There's pretty much no rollover to this upper whatsoever. So if you don't like your foot sliding around inside the shoe when you're making quick cuts and quick maneuvers, you're definitely going to love how these things feel at high speed. Because like I said, your foot is locked in place pretty much better than any other shoe on the market at the moment. The laces are off-centered, as you guys can see. There is some texturing to the upper itself. All these embossed lines aren't really going to be noticeable when making touches on the ball, but they will add to the overall flexibility of the upper to a certain extent. And of course, the upper is also finished off with ACC All Conditions Control, acting as your wet control element, something you will find on all the top-end models from Nike at the moment. As far as the mid-cut design of this shoe is concerned, it's the Phantom 2, so really, this element doesn't need to be here. If you don't want a mid-cut shoe, but you want everything else about this particular shoe, you can, of course, go for the Hypervenom Finish model, which is the exact same shoe with a traditional low cut, but this is the Phantom 2. It has the mid-cut, which changes the way the shoe fits in the heel. There's really no performance benefit to a mid-cut shoe. Like I said, it just changes the way the shoe fits and feels on your foot. So this actual color itself doesn't add any structural support. It doesn't add ankle stability in any way at all. And it also doesn't really add much in the way of protection other than just a thin layer of material. What it does do is, one, give you a certain look that's fairly unique for a pair of soccer cleats, and two, also kind of changes the way this shoe feels when you wear it. It feels like it's flowing from your leg onto your foot as opposed to something that's being strapped to your foot, if that makes any sense. So it's kind of a unique experience and something that does take a little bit of getting used to, especially at first, something we'll talk about a little bit later in the video. Inside the shoe, there is a heel liner made from synthetic leather, minimal amounts of padding. Some people find that a little bit comfortable at first, but again, I'll explain that later in the video during the on-feet portion. The insole, fully removable mesh liner on top, pretty straightforward, and then a single layer of this ortholite foam that has some decent thickness to it, and it's just a nice, comfortable insole overall. Nothing too fancy, but it does get the job done. And then moving on to the bottom, you're going to find a compressed nylon sole plate with a standard plastic stud plate over top. So the sole plate itself, it's firm, it's on the thinner side, but still nice and responsive and flexible in all the right places. So really, really nice sole plate. And as far as the stud pattern is concerned, it's the same thing we got from the original Hypervenom Phantom 1. That kind of carries over to the second Hypervenom generation, and it's really good. It's kind of a conical shaped Mercurial stud pattern, if that makes any sense. It's a very similar layout to what you're going to find from the Mercurial line, but instead of bladed studs, the studs are conical in shape. And unlike something like a Tiempo or a Magista, the studs themselves are a little bit smaller in profile, so they dig into the ground a little bit better, and they provide just more aggressive traction because of them being able to dig into the ground a little bit more deep, just due to their smaller size. So the overall traction is quite good, and unlike a Mercurial, for example, where you might feel a little bit more locked in because of the conical shaped stud, you have that little bit more freedom to twist and pivot, which some people prefer over the bladed studs of the Mercurials. Both shoes perform really, really well as far as traction is concerned. And again, it's really a matter of preference when it comes to stud patterns. Nothing is particularly great and really going to provide any kind of major advantage on firm natural grass. These things will perform really, really well in regards to traction. So that's pretty much it in terms of what you're getting with the Phantom 2. Next, let's move on to a quick weigh-in so we can see how lightweight these guys are. As far as weight is concerned, again, there's no difference between the men's and women's versions of the Phantom 2, but of course you have to compare equivalent sizes. So in the men's version of the Phantom 2, I wear a men's size 9 US, and to go from men's to women's sizing for Nike at least, basically what you do is you go up 1.5 sizes for the exact same equivalent size. So these are a 10.5 US women's, which like I said, is exactly the same as a size 9 US men's. So this is the pair that I'm gonna weigh on the scale for you guys. Brand new condition, keep that in mind. I'm gonna throw them on the scale, and I missed the scale, but we're gonna keep going. You can see that they weigh in at 7.7 ounces, the equivalent of 218 grams. So again, on par with the equivalent men's size in the Hypervenom Phantom 2. No lighter, no heavier, and just as an overall package, the Hypervenom Phantom 2 feels very light on your feet. Yes, the Superfly and the Obra are a little bit lighter if you're comparing it to the other mid-cut models from Nike, but the weight difference is fairly minimal, and pretty much all the mid-cut models from Nike feel very light on your feet. So again, if you're looking for that lightweight feel, especially a feel that is very locked down and very firm, that's exactly what you get from the Hypervenom Phantom 2. All right, so here is a look at the women's Hypervenom Phantom 2s on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock laces that come with the shoes. And on my right foot, I have a pair of royal blue reflective SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You can find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, obviously it is women's sizing, not women's fit, like I mentioned throughout the entire video. So as long as you get the equivalent women's size to the men's size, the actual shape and length of the shoe will be identical. So basically, how you go from women's sizing or from men's sizing to women's sizing, for Nike at least, is you go up 1.5 sizes. So for me, in the regular Hypervenom Phantom 2, the men's variation, I wear a size 9 US. So to go from men's to women's, I go up 1.5 sizes. These are a 10.5 US women's, and like I said, they are exactly the same as a men's size 9 US. No difference whatsoever. The only difference is, of course, the colorway. So again, if you're looking to go up to the women's pack or looking to get any of the shoes from the current women's pack, all you have to do is take your men's size, go up 1.5 sizes, and you'll have the exact equivalent in the women's sizing. So just keep that in mind. As far as the fit of the shoe is concerned, they fit and feel just like a regular pair of Phantom 2s. It's a tight fitting shoe. The upper is definitely pretty firm, especially at first. It never really softens up, which is a question I get a lot. Is the shoe gonna feel softer after break-in? No, it's just a firm upper. It really doesn't have any kind of soft qualities to it, but it will become a little bit more flexible after a few hours of wear time. But for the most part, the way it feels out of the box is kind of the way this shoe is going to feel for its entire lifespan. So if you don't necessarily like that firm sensation, these might not be the best option for you. It is, of course, a tighter fitting shoe, and because of the firmer material, it's not really going to have any stretch to it either. So the way they fit from out of the box is the way they're going to fit for their entire lifespan. And it's going to be suitable for most foot types. It's a tighter fitting shoe, but they're certainly not overly narrow. If you do have really wide feet though, probably not the best option. And then of course you do have the mid-cut design, which does change up the fit in the heel. can feel a little bit stiff and slightly uncomfortable at first, but as long as you take things slowly during the break-in process, you shouldn't have too many issues. Wear them around the house, take them through some really light training sessions. If you start to feel discomfort, take them off, put on an older pair, and as long as you repeat that process until you feel comfortable wearing these for 90 minutes, 2 hours, you shouldn't have too many problems. Just don't wear them straight into a game or straight into a shooting session, and you should be able to avoid major discomfort and blisters in general. So that's pretty much it in terms of how these things fit on feet. Again, if you want to go from men's to women's sizing, all you have to do is take your men's size, go up 1.5 sizes, and you'll have the exact equivalent in a women's shoe. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the women's Nike Hypervenom Phantom 2. If you guys are interested in more info, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find the high quality images of this exact pair. It'll give you a better idea as to how these shoes actually do look in person, as well as buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $275 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding the women's Phantom 2, leave those questions down below in the comment section, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.